Dude, it's tough to make it like not feel staged though. You know what I mean? Like how do I do that? Um, Dude, this is so hard to come up with this video script. It's like I don't even know what I'm eating tomorrow. Like no plan. Probably just like run, have some orange juice, go out to lunch. The worst part of these videos, like I don't like, is I don't want people to like see what I'm doing and think that that's what they need to do. Like, so like comparison, tendency to copy. Like nutrition is so individual. There's like a million ways to do it. It's just like understanding underlying principles. And with something like that, I hate just like putting out specifics, just feels kind of weird. I feel like there's so much of a like identity thing with eating where like people in certain sports gravitate towards like certain foods, and it's like, oh, you're into physique, it's like egg whites in chicken and rice, where it's like, oh, you're a runner, like banana and bagel or something. It's like you can eat all of those foods regardless of what you're doing. Like, you got to dial in the quantities, make sure you're fueling the appropriate kind of macro ranges for some of those sports. But like, I think it's weird how certain foods, like certain athletes go towards certain foods too, especially with like in the content space. It's very performative of like, if I eat this food and put it on camera, it's gonna like make good content, versus like some just like slop, like make a gray looking stew. It's like actually tasty, but like doesn't look very good on camera. It's like you never see that like in these videos. It's always some like rainbow bowl with like avocado and like all the colorful, beautiful plates, very aesthetic. It's like I don't eat anything that's aesthetic. I don't like when things like appear staged,
Let me know. So without further ado, let's get into the full day of eating. Here is the breakfast that I have 9 out of 10 times, and I've been doing so for many years. I want to say at least since 2018, which is so simple and anyone can replicate this. What we have here is 30 grams of rolled oats. I need to have my blueberries. Sometimes I'll...
That's so funny. Oh man, I like Alex. But just like the optimization culture of like eating certain foods at certain times and like timing your blueberries around cognitively demanding work is like so insane to me. Like, I think just get it all in, dude. Be all right. See Mark Wahlberg.
Listen to the people that told me how to do things right a long time ago. I take my vitamins, I drink my water, I have a little dissolvable zinc tablet, and then I have a triple espresso. I'll have my coffee, go in the cold plunge, come out, and then I'll have my creatine and my branched chain aminos while I'm working out. After the workout, about 45 minutes after the workout this morning, I had 5 eggs. I had 2 hard-boiled eggs and 3 scrambled eggs. I had a pork chop, which is a little bit of salt and pepper on it. I had wild smoked salmon, some Greek yogurt, and berries, and pistachios, and I had a handful of almonds. Salmon sashimi, crab salad with a little cucumber, and a couple pieces of chicken breast. Steak, some sea bass or halibut, and something, and a vegetable. I just try to eat as clean as possible.
That's funny. I love how it seems like he's just rattling all that stuff off the dome. Like 35 different things, 6 different berries, steak, sea bass, salmon, like so many crazy things in a single day. Like maybe he does eat all that stuff, but I feel like a lot of this stuff is so performative of like want some exotic list of like all the craziest things you eat in a day. Like, I'd love to see more just like the bland single ingredient, you know, meals that like everyday people are probably actually eating, you know, like he had like 9 different meats in a single day. Like, it's so wild.
And then having the egg whites. So it was a lot of work. I mean, there was some diets, I'm not gonna lie, I ate 140 egg whites a day. I had a local butcher, and I would have
140 eggs. There's so much variety, which I think is cool. I wish more people appreciated how many paths there are to roam with some of this stuff. Hopefully people at least take that away from this video of, you know, there's not one way to eat, there's just underlying principles. I guess 140 eggs a day is one of those options. That's crazy though. Mark Wahlberg is like rattling off like, that was a crazy list. I don't know.
That was insane.
I was like, dude, what?
Sea bass, yeah, same.
Yes. Steak and sea bass for dinner, yeah.
The typical middle-class American
Yeah.
family day of eating. Dude, that list was more than I eat in a month.
Yeah.
There were four of those berries I'd never even heard of.
That was such a long list. He just like kept rattling off like.
I was waiting for it to end.
I love the how it flowed though. Like he was just kind of thinking of it. He's like, oh yeah, and blueberries, strawberries, a handful of this, a handful of that, and some sea bass and some steak. I'm like, dude, what? That's insane. Yeah, his typical day of eating is like $600.
Come on, guys.
That's funny. This has been a very requested piece of content from my subscribers, full day of eating. It's actually been a video I've been kind of dreading to make. You know, I think a lot of this kind of content is well intended, but I think full day of eating videos can have the potential to be somewhat harmful if they're not given with like the appropriate context and kind of discussion around some of the principles behind what people are eating. I see a lot of kind of performative eating in this space, you know, people just making the most aesthetic plates they can and showing like the best version of themselves. And I think that can be misleading and harmful and give people a skewed perception of what, you know, real diets really look like. And I get it, a lot of people do track really meticulously all the time, and that's fine if that works for you or for your sport. But there's a lot of athletes out there like me who take a more intuitive approach to eating, and maybe their diet isn't always perfect. So I want to show you a little bit more of that side of it. I'm not going to curate the day and show you the best version of myself. I'm actually traveling right now. My diet's probably not going to look super great. I don't have anything planned out. I don't even know what I'm eating today yet. Just kind of taking the day as it goes, and we'll share a little bit about kind of my thought process behind eating, and hopefully share some helpful principles so that you guys can make good decisions of your own. So far this morning, getting ready for my run, just pre-workout, caffeine, creatine, and some beetroot powder. I don't typically eat first thing in the morning before a run. Usually just slam some pre-workout, go run, and then eat afterwards. I know like people talk about fasted training, like it's a big thing. It's like, you know, what your grandma used to just call working out in the morning before breakfast. Like, you know, to be able to get a full meal in before training, I'd have to wake up, you know, so much earlier and everything. And just the idea of it being fasted anyway seems kind of weird to me. Like if you're eating plenty of calories, you had a big dinner last night, first thing in the morning, like your glycogen stores are still plenty full. You have plenty of energy. It's not like I've been fasting for 24, 48 hours. And if it's a tough session, I can always take some carbs with me. Today's workout is 8 miles easy, and then a 4-mile progression. I'm gonna cut down to about marathon pace, 1 mile cool down. Pretty light session as far as long runs go. Just starting to get back into some serious training in terms of like quality. For a couple weeks, I was doing mostly just easy volume, and so I'm starting to dose back in a little bit of pace work into my long run. So it's kind of a gentle reintroduction, just a couple of hard miles, and then post-workout, I'll figure out some sort of snack here. There's a grocery store nearby, so go figure out how to refuel.
just finished this morning's run, 12.5 miles, 6:30 pace. It's like 8 miles easy and then like a 4-mile progression, cutting down to marathon pace. So got a couple miles in at like 5:45-ish. Pretty good session. Post-workout, priority for me is just like getting rehydrated and stuff like that. If you've been following me for a while, you know I'm like an orange juice fanatic. Love my orange juice. I probably drank like at least a liter a day, probably a whole container this size on like tough workout days, like a liter and a half. And it's so funny. I get so many comments about like it's too much sugar and so on and so forth. And like, it's just not for me. Like, obviously not everyone should be drinking a liter and a half of orange juice a day. But with my energy expenditure and stuff, it's totally fine. Just got my blood work back. It looks great. My blood sugar, A1C, it's all good. So I'm doing fine. But that kind of brings me to an important point about some of these like day of eating videos. And that's just like understanding context and not comparing your diet to anyone else's. Because, you know, I have several hundred grams of sugar per day and, you know, that's fine for me and healthy for me. Obviously, like a lot of people at home watching this, that would be an insane choice for them. And I think a lot of these videos just kind of don't communicate that context. And it's like, this is what I do. So, you know, you can do it too kind of thing. Even if it's not said explicitly, I think sometimes it's implied that like whatever choices an athlete is making are inherently good choices. But it's really just like about matching your diet to your activity level and your goals and all that kind of stuff. So I love my orange juice. I probably drank more than is healthy for 99.9% of people, but shout out Uncle Matt's. I feel like this is the best orange juice. I know people love to debate this in my comments, like what is the best orange juice? I've seen a lot of votes for Natalie's. It's pretty good, but I'm an Uncle Matt's guy myself.
So after the post-workout orange juice, had a little break, walked over, got some lunch, had some excellent Indian food. I honestly have no idea what the macros are on something like that. Pretty rich, creamy dish, decent amount of fat from the coconut milk, some protein from the tofu, some protein in the bread. I'm guessing is like 30 grams of protein and probably more calories than I think. Like restaurant food is generally always going to be higher calorie and higher sodium than you estimate it to be. So probably plenty of calories there, but again, I don't know exactly what it is. And you know, I don't track super strictly or anything like that. I just kind of eat by hunger cues, so not really concerned about it one way or the other. I personally go out to eat all the time. There's pros and cons to that. You know, yeah, it's expensive, but it's convenient. No, the macros are not always as good, but it's a time saver. And sometimes when I'm done training, you know, long day, the last thing I want to do is cook and prep food. So I love going out to eat, but you know, it might not be the right trade-off for you. I think anytime you're making a nutrition decision or a training decision or a sleep decision or whatever it is, it's always a matter of trade-offs. And in the real world, it's hard to ever optimize for one variable without making big sacrifices to another. So, you know, every additional 30 minutes that you spend cooking or cleaning or whatever, that's 30 less minutes that you can spend training or sleeping or whatever it is. And, you know, if you're super busy and have a real life, anytime you try to invest extra time in one of those things, one of your something else is probably going to suffer a little bit. I was hanging out, working out with one of my friends last week, who he's fortunate enough to have a private chef. And that was super cool. Like, and it's been cool to watch his fitness change. Having a chef just like dial in his meals and his macros are perfect all the time. He doesn't have to spend any time on it, and it just frees up so much time and energy for him to train more and sleep more and work more on his businesses and things like that. And I think that's super sick. And I'd love to have something like that. But for me, like, nutrition is so time consuming, and like the amount of time it takes to go to the grocery store and plan it all out I'd rather just go run another couple of miles. I think that's probably more relevant to my goals. Of course, it's not all or nothing. It's not saying I eat like total crap or have not, no clue what the macros are. I try to hit certain minimums. I'm somewhat aware of what my protein is on any given day. But in general, like the minimums that I have for myself is just one, am I, eating enough total calories throughout the day and especially throughout the week. There might be some days I'm a little high or low, but I'm just trying to keep an overall eye on my weight and my body composition. If I see things, going down or up too quickly, I'll just kind of adjust my portion control and how I'm feeling after meals, how many desserts I'm eating, that kind of thing. The other is fiber. I think a lot of people don't eat enough fiber. I think it's something like 90% of the US population doesn't meet their fiber guidelines, which is absolutely insane to me. If I had to pick one nutrient, even more than protein, I'd say just focus on hitting your fiber intake. Because if you're eating enough calories and eating enough like whole foods that you're hitting your fiber target, you're probably going to be getting enough protein too. But you can't really say the same thing in reverse. You can easily get plenty of protein while still falling short on fiber. So I think if you're getting enough calories, getting enough fiber, those are the two most important things. And then protein, I would say, is tertiary to that. Protein is definitely important. I don't index it super highly for most people just because, like I said, if you're eating enough total calories for your goals, especially as an athlete, and you're eating a fair amount of whole unprocessed foods, hitting those fiber targets, it's going to be hard to not get enough protein for most people. So I don't think it's something you have to worry about a ton. The exceptions to that, I would say, is like for me as a vegan, my protein choices tend to be not as pure protein as typical like lean meats and that kind of thing. So I might have to try just a little bit harder or be a little bit more conscious of it. I'd also say if you're actively dieting and your calorie budget is just a lot lower, having to think about protein a little bit more might be part of your lifestyle. But aside from those two cases, I think most people are going to be totally fine.
These things are so hard to chew. It's like workout. So it's been a couple hours since my last big meal. Had the gym for my strength workout. Had the long run this morning. Full body session coming up at the gym. Starting to get a little bit hungry. So just having like a quick snack, protein bar. Nothing crazy. It's like 230 calories. But just want a little more fuel for this workout. On the topic of intuitive eating, so I was alluding to how I don't like really track or monitor my macros or calories that much. Just because I do it, I don't think that it means that it's right for everyone. There's pros and cons to more intuitive eating. There's pros and cons to tracking a little bit more. And I think part of that, part of the reason that different strategies work well for different people is people differ in their ability to regulate their appetite and kind of course correct day over day. And by that I mean like today realistically I'm probably gonna undereat. Just been like busy traveling, food is not like super accessible, just kind of on the go, getting a lot of work done today. So I will probably undereat calories a little bit, but I'll make up for that like tomorrow or the next day. Like I'll probably eat quite a bit more. And so my nutrition across the week is gonna probably still be pretty balanced and pretty good. And similarly on the flip side, there's days where I might have a ton of calories. And on those days, like the next day I'll wake up and I won't have an appetite, I won't be hungry, and I'll kind of course correct for that. But I don't think that everyone has that kind of internal monitoring system that's as sensitive or as accurate. I think that some people, they overeat one day and they wake up the next day and they're like clean slate, ready to overeat again, as opposed to like having that kind of appetite regulation. And I think there's genetic differences there, differences in just like, food noise, the environment that you're in. I think there's a lot of things that people don't appreciate in terms of individual differences with that kind of stuff. And so for some people, if their appetite is not, regulated super well with that, with respect to those things, they might need more of a plan to stick to day over day or quantify and to know like, oh, I ate a lot today, I should pull back tomorrow. Whereas for me, if I have one of those big days, I'm not worried about it. I know that without even thinking about it, I'm probably going to eat a little bit less the next day. So just something to keep in mind of like, why a more intuitive approach might work better for some people than for others. I think a lot of it is going to be genetic and social and environmental. So just because like intuitive eating, just kind of like eating how I feel works for me. There's plenty of people out there who a more structured approach might be a good idea. All right, ready? Solid day at the gym, full body session, pretty low volume. I did a couple sets of RDLs, some bench, split squats, weighted pull-ups, and then some climbing. Probably one of my lower volume sessions, but I was pretty tired from the long run. I don't usually do a gym session on a long run day, so I was pretty tired, so just kind of kept the volume under control. Traveling here in Minneapolis to see some people, and so not really cooking at all, just kind of going out for every meal. So picked up a couple like ready-made protein shakes at the grocery store. I do love these, like they're super chocolatey, and I love chocolate. So I just like had 2 of these post-gym. As far as like protein shakes and stuff go, I'm pretty neutral on them. I certainly don't think they're necessary from like a hitting your protein target perspective. Like I could go out and, eat or cook just about anything. Like I could have a couple of peanut butter sandwiches or like go out for another restaurant meal and I'd probably get plenty of protein from that too. But just the convenience of just like a grab and go, I think is great. Also post-workout, it's just like easy to get down. Sometimes I'll have protein shakes like after a run when like you don't have much of an appetite, but you should probably eat something. So I think protein shakes and like protein supplements can be, conditionally effective in those contexts, but certainly not required from, a protein intake perspective. But definitely a big fan of the ultra dark chocolate. My horrible peanut butter spreading technique. So today was a pretty big day of training between the long run, gym session, but it was also a busy day, doing a lot of content, travel, meeting with people. So definitely underfueled today. It's late at night, almost bedtime, but got these like breakfast pita thing, breakfast browns, I don't know, peanut butter. Had 3 of these before bed tonight. Just try to get enough calories for the day. I think I'm still sitting around like 3,600 total, which is really not enough for me on a training day like this. Probably would have liked another 500 to 1,000 or so. But that brings me to my next important point, which is like when you're looking at a day of eating video, you don't really have a sense of like what would happen if that continued forever. Like if I did this exact day every day, eventually I'd probably feel terrible. I would lose weight. Like this is not a sustainable day, but it fits into the context of the week. I'll probably eat more tomorrow, so on and so forth. But like this day on its own is not sustainable. It doesn't work super well. And I think that's true of a lot of what you see out there. You might see people when they are thinking about making content and choosing the most aesthetic foods, they might put something together that might actually put them in a deficit when they're eating that clean. Or maybe they're kind of showing off that they can eat whatever they want and they have a bunch of desserts and pizza and donuts and stuff like that. And like, yeah, they can do that for a day, but that's probably not super sustainable day after day either. So I think more than just like a day of eating, really seeing like a week of eating or a month of eating, like you really got to zoom out and see a long-term kind of average before you can like do a lot with that data. So today, not my best day. I didn't want to try to curate like a day of eating that was, really good or curated or aesthetic. This is just kind of like a shitty, busy travel day. Eat what you can. And my main takeaway is like, that's fine. You're going to have some of those days,
probably 2 or 3 days out of the week, my diet looks like very unremarkable, very unimpressive. I might have 1 or 2 days a week that like looks really good and aesthetic, and like I have some really killer meals that look super healthy. But across the week, as long as I'm getting enough total calories throughout the week, enough total protein throughout the week, some days a little high, some days a little low, being pretty consistent with my fiber intake, I feel good about it, and I just try to put most of my energy into the training side of things. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys to see kind of a day in the real life on the road. I'll probably make another one of these in the future.